These are 7 simple ways you can use post-it notes for productivity. So start off by trying one idea at a time and see how it works for you. For you to get the most value out of this, you need to take action. So let's get started. Number 1 is a reminder system. So this is for important stuff that you need to remember. So what you want to do is you get your post-it note and then you write down something important. So like let's say you need to get some milk. You can write down milk. And then once you got milk, you can cross it off. So anything important that you need to remember to do, you write it down on the post-it note and then you can keep it in your desk or pocket. And then once you finish or once you get that, you can simply just cross it off. This works a lot better than using online reminders because number 1, you can get distracted. And number 2, you have a bunch of other things competing for your attention. But with this, the reminders are right in front of you. So that's the first way you can use post-it notes for productivity. Let's go on to number 2. The second way is memory training habit. So what you're going to do is on a post-it note, you're going to write something down that you want to remember. So it could be like some notes. It could be important tasks that you want to do. It could be some quotes from other people that you like. So anything that you want to remember, you can write it down. And then what you want to do is when you're brushing your teeth, you try to mentally recall what you wrote down. So for the post-it note, you would write the stuff that you want to remember, like say quotes. And then you can put your post-it note on your desk, and then you go brush your teeth. And then when you're brushing your teeth, you try to mentally remember and recall what you wrote down. So you try to repeat what you wrote down in your head. So I'd recommend multiple quotes. So you could start off with like 3 to 5 quotes, for example. And then when you're brushing your teeth, try your best to remember those 3 to 5 quotes. And by doing this, this is a great way to train your memory because you're not always going to have pen and paper for your habits. Sometimes you need to remember stuff. So you need a combination of writing your ideas down, but you also need to train your memory. And this is one way you can do it. Number 3 is daily things learned. So what you can do is from your books or from your video learning, you can start off by writing this stuff that you learned in a notebook. But then what you can do with the post-it note is after you write your notes down, you can write the one idea that you want to apply today. So for your book, you can write the book title and then rewrite one idea that you want to use today. Let's say you're reading a book and it's some tip for your health. You can write it down on the post-it note. So the post-it note can be ideas that you want to apply today. So again, you start off by writing the stuff that you learned in the notebook, and then the exact things that you want to apply today, you can write it in the post-it note. Since you can always have a post-it note ready, and just like the first idea, once you have it written down, you can cross it off. So let's say for this book, I have health item. So let's say suggest something that I get for my health. And then once you get that, or once you apply that idea, you can cross it off. So that way, this makes sure you actually apply what you learn instead of just keeping it in notes. Number 4 is habit limit tracker. So for habits that you want to give yourself a max time. So for example, let's say for video learning, let's say you want to give yourself a max time of 20 minutes. So what you could do is on a post-it note, you could say video learning or free success videos learning, and then you can say 20 minutes. Let's say you're learning from courses, you could write courses, 20 minutes. So for certain habits that you want to give yourself a max time, you can write this down and then you can keep this on your desk as a reminder. Because some tasks you need a max time, like especially for video learning. Yeah, you might stop once you find one thing to apply, but if you don't find that one thing to apply, it might take a while. So for video learning, that's where you need a max time. So for this, I recommend 20 minutes for video learning and then 20 minutes for course learning. Video learning is like YouTube. And then any other habit that you want to give yourself a time limit, you can write it down right here and then keep it on your desk as a reminder. Number 5 is book completion trigger. So once you finish reading a book, on a post-it note, you want to write done, underline that, and then you write the book title. So for example, for this book, I wrote done, and then I wrote persuasion, and that's the book title. And then you can just put it on your book. So that way you know exactly what books you read. So you don't reread the books that you don't need to read. Now, sometimes you can read books multiple times, but that's your very best books that you read. But for most books, just write done in the book title. That way you know you finished a book, and it can help motivate you since you can have a stack of finished books. And that can help motivate you to read more since you want to build that stack. Think of it like a video game. Number 6 is night ideas. So you have two options for this. You can use a mini notebook or you can use a post-it note. So for this is right before you sleep, you can write down your ideas that you need to remember or important things. So you could use a mini notebook, but the problem with this is that it holds a lot of pages, so you'll likely write a lot of stuff. But if you don't want to write as much stuff and you want to keep it simple and you don't want to overthink, what you could do is you get a post-it note and then you can put this post-it note and a pen right next to your bed, and then right before you sleep you can write down any important thoughts and reminders that you need to remember. So try both methods. Try it with a mini notebook and then try it with a post-it note and see which one works best for you. Because remember, when you're sleeping, you're supposed to be focused on sleeping, not thinking of more ideas. So the purpose of this is to clear your mind before you sleep. So try both of them to see which one works best for you. Number 7 is phone distraction blocker. So for this is you want to get a post-it note, and when you're going on distracting apps, what you could do is when you go on the apps, block the part that distracts you. And then once you scroll past that or once you finish that, you can remove the post-it note. So the post-it note can help you block the distracting part of apps when you don't want to use it or see it. And then as a bonus, if you want to do this idea on, let's say, a laptop or a tablet, you can get a piece of paper. And it's the same idea with that. Block out the distracting part of apps when you don't want to see it. So those are the 7 ways you can use post-it notes for productivity. Leave in the comments below which one you're going to try today.